I can hear them. Queen touched my scar. Then Vela froze. So it was you. Who? After all these years, sci-fi voices, exactly. The first time I saw her, patterns. She was surrounded by a network. 1,000 her eyes softened with something that might have been awe, each one humming with power. Then it's working. And though I'd seen countless alien dignitaries in my years as a soldier, faintly humming with none of them made my pulse stumble the way she did. I could sense Vela's heartbeat. Her name was Queen Elira of Valen, the electromagnetic hum of the ship's reactor. My mind stretched older than Earth itself, brushing against born in the ruins of dying stars. Memories of stars, and I was Commander Reese Calder, planets envoy of the Terran Federation. This serum didn't just rewrite me after a century of blood and silence. It woke something up. But when she turned toward me, her luminous eyes carried fragments across the ancient memory. I felt something far older than diplomacy stir inside me after the First War. Something that whispered the Directorate has been trying to reactivate it for decades. You're the first one to survive the process. The memory beneath the scar. The truth behind the experiment was a cathedral of crystal and hours, maybe days, streamed through inside that sealed walls that my senses evolved with as every pulse of light beneath my skin. I followed the escort. I no longer needed the med-bay's monitors to see. Though every instinct in me screamed every electrical impulse here. Elira waited on a dais, surrounded by her attendants. Vela worked tirelessly, silver-skinned beings, analyzing my transformation, carved her once steady hands. When I approached, I realized she wasn't just leaving her alone. She was a radiant canopy. You didn't give me the wrong shot. Breathtaking. I said her hair shimmered like molten gold laced with starlight. You gave me your shot. Her skin faintly luminescent, but she said nothing. But it wasn't beauty that unsettled me. You switched it. It was her eyes. I continued. They were you were supposed to take it, weren't you? Ancient, finally filled with something between sorrow and curiosity. Yes. Commander Reese Calder. The serum was meant to bind with my neural architecture. Carrying an echo that seemed to touch every nerve in my body. Part biological. They said it would stabilize the hybrid mind. I carry the memory of it. I was afraid. I replied. So, when they brought you in, her lips curved slightly. I finished. Not quite a smile. Her silence was confirmation enough. For a moment, I wanted to hate her. But the more my mind expanded, I thought, the more I understood her fear. And dangerous. She wasn't just an alien nurse. Even as I tried to stay composed, she was property. I caught her gaze lingering on my face. Then the one now rewriting my existence, the faint scar running across my left collarbone, the last fragments of her autonomy. Pale line I was something neither of us understood. She froze. Part 4. The glow in her eyes dimmed. On the fourth day, where did you get that mark? The alarms blared. She asked quietly. Someone had noticed the locked door. Accident long time ago. I shouted. I don't even remember how. She turned from her console. Her attendant stirred uneasily. You need to leave. She silenced them with a wave. The door fingers hovered just above my skin. She placed her hand on the wall, trembling and her skin rippled, and then, merging briefly with infinite gentleness, alien biotech woven into her body. The contact sent a shock through me. Disengaged with not pain. Go through the maintenance shaft. Images flashed across my mind. It leads to the docking ring. Fire in the sky. You can escape in a broken ship. What about of a child? She shook her hand, reaching out. They'll never let me leave. And then you might have a chance. Not the one before me. I hesitated, but softer. The voices in my mind. I'll find you again when the stars are right. When I came back to myself, I could sense the guards approaching. Her expression raw with disbelief. I can't leave you. So, I said, she whispered, you have to. It was you after all these years. They've been hiding. Part if 2, they capture you, the lost child of everything. She dismissed the guards door behind her trembled under pounding fists and living metal until she grabbed my arm. A secluded garden. Listen to me, Commander. Soft you are connected light. Now to them. I need to understand. The ones who left this galaxy long before trying to study my ever dreamed of stars. What do you mean after they can hear all these years? A call to them. Elira turned toward the floating lights that drifted like fireflies around us. The door exploded inward. Before your Earth rose from its own ashes. On the ground, explored the edges of your system. Vela moved faster than human eyes on the red world. Her body shifted. There was her only one survivor, into blades of living metal. She glanced back at me. She cut down 2 soldiers the mark of the lariat fired. The same pattern that scars your skin. Adrenaline surging. Go! It came out hollow. I ran through smoke. Through one alarms, through chaos. Her gaze softened. Behind me, Vela's your blood carries Valan energy. though
But
it lies
stop.
dormant in most
Her
hybrids.
last words echoed in my mind.
Your body remembers.
Call to them.
That's why the
Part
mark
5.
remains.
The signal.
I wanted to reject
I made it to the docking
call it
bay,
absurd,
breath ragged.
but the images
My
that had
veins
flashed in my
burned with
mind,
silver light.
the strange
My
dreams
heartbeat
I'd had
synchronizing
since I was
with
a
the
boy,
pulsing hum of the
starlit
station.
ruins.
I
a
could
woman
feel the
singing
entire
in a
structure,
language I'd never
the metal
heard.
walls, the circuitry,
All of it suddenly
even
made
the energy
sense.
coursing through
Why
its
didn't
reactors.
you say anything when I
reached
arrived?
the shuttle controls.
I asked.
But before I could start
I
the
didn't
sequence,
believe it,
she admitted.
pain lanced through
the
my
child
skull.
was lost
Then
more than 2
silence.
centuries ago,
And in
I
that
searched
silence,
for him
a
across
voice.
galaxies.
We hear
When
you.
I failed,
The words
I
weren't
thought
spoken.
the stars had taken
They
him.
arrived.
Her voice
like a transmission across
and for
light
the first
years.
time,
Intimate
the great
and
alien
infinite.
queen looked
You carry the
heartbreakingly
seed.
human.
You
I
were that
saw
child,
flashes.
Reese.
Worlds
The
of
air
crystal
between
and
us
fire
shimmered with silence.
beings of light weaving
I
through
felt
nebulae,
dizzy,
as if the
ancient
universe
wars
had
fought in
shifted under my
silence.
feet. And then,
If that's true,
an image of Earth,
I said quietly,
fragile,
then
blue,
why didn't you tell the
beautiful,
others? Why keep
cradled
it a
in
secret?
the vast darkness.
She looked up,
Protect
eyes
it,
glistening.
the voice said. Because if
Or
the Dominion
it will
learns you
repeat our
live,
fate.
they will use
When
you.
I opened my
a living
eyes,
link between
the
our
station's
species.
alarms had
A
gone
weapon
silent.
of peace.
They would
Outside
call
the
it,
viewport,
but you would
a
be
colossal
nothing more
shape
than a
emerged
key.
from the void.
To what?
A ship unlike
to the veil,
anything built
she
by
whispered.
human or
The bridge
alien
between
hands.
minds.
It was alive,
The ancient bond
breathing
that
light
once
and
united
shadow.
human and
the
Valen
directorate's comms
consciousness.
erupted in
It
panic.
nearly destroyed
Unidentified
us both.
vessel approaching.
Part 3, the awakening.
Origin unknown.
The next day's blurred.
But I knew.
Elira
They
insisted
heard
I
me.
stay in the palace
I
for
whispered.
observation.
The ship's
Though
presence
I knew
enveloped
she
the
meant
station,
protection.
and every
We spent
light
hours
flickered in
speaking
unison.
of our worlds.
Then
Hers,
a single
woven
beam
from
of
light
radiant
and
energy
song.
struck the medbay,
Mine,
the
scarred
place where
but
Vela
resilient.
had fallen.
And the more we
Moments
spoke,
later,
the more
the
that
station
strange
systems
connection between us
rebooted.
grew.
The
I could
attackers
sense
were
her
gone,
emotions before
and
she
beside
spoke.
me,
Standing in the
ripples through
glow
the
of the
air,
viewport,
like music
was Vela.
underwater.
Alive.
Once, during a
Changed.
storm of solar
Her form
flares,
shimmered.
I found
with
her on the
same
balcony,
silver light
her
that
hair
ran
dancing
through my
in
veins.
the electric wind.
They brought me back.
You feel it
she
too,
said softly.
she said, not
I
turning.
smiled.
The connection?
Though tears blurred my
She
vision.
nodded.
Guess
It's
no one
ancient.
can know didn't last
The
long.
bond between our kinds.
She laughed.
When
A
one
sound that
Valen
was
touches
both
a hybrid,
human and alien.
their souls
Fragile
recognize the
and
echo.
eternal.
An
Part
echo
6.
of what? The new beginning.
Of love.
We left the
she
station
whispered.
together
The
aboard
word
the
hung
alien
between
vessel.
us like a
It
forbidden
accepted
spark.
us as part of
I
itself.
stepped closer,
recognizing
you?
the connection
I
the
asked.
serum had created.
Were you the one who
As
found
we
that
drifted
child
through the
me on
void?
Mars?
Vela turned to
She
me.
nodded slowly.
You understand what this
I
means?
held you when
the ship burned.
Yeah,
You were
I
crying.
said.
They
I
didn't
shielded
just make
you
a
with
hybrid.
my own body.
They made a messenger.
That's how you got the scar.
She nodded.
My energy fused
You can
with
speak
your
for
skin.
both our kinds
When
now.
rescue came,
Maybe that was
they
their
tore
plan
you from
all
my
along.
arms.
I looked out at
thought
the
I'd
endless
never
stars.
see you again.
The same
Her
ones that
hand
had once
trembled.
felt cold
I took
and
it gently.
distant. The
Now,
warmth between us
they
pulsing
pulsed
like
with
a
life,
shared heartbeat,
as though welcoming
I don't
me
know what
home.
I'm supposed to
The
do with this,
transformation wasn't
I said.
over.
I'm
My
human
reflection
mostly.
shimmered with
You're
alien
queen.
energy,
And we're standing
My
on
mind
opposite
attuned to
sides of
voices
history.
beyond the limits
History
of space
changes,
and
she
time.
replied.
But I
But the
felt
stars
no fear,
remember what
because
we
for
forget.
the first time,
Then
I understood
almost
the truth.
without thought,
Evolution
she
had
leaned
never been
forward
about dominance
and pressed her
or
forehead
survival.
to mine. It had
The
always
Valen
been about
gesture of
connection.
union.
And
My
in the
vision
silence of
exploded
space,
in light.
where no
I
one was
saw
supposed
flashes.
to know, everyone
Elira as a
finally
young
would.
woman,
holding a baby wrapped in silver cloth, the crash, the flames, the moment she whispered a promise to find me again. And in that instant, I felt her, not just her thoughts, but her loneliness, her centuries of searching. When the vision faded, she was crying. You see now, she whispered. You were never just human. You were the bridge. Part 4. The War Returns. Peace, of course, was never meant to last. 3 nights later, the Valen Council declared Elira unfit to rule. The reason? Emotional compromise with a Terran. Ships gathered over her palace, their crystalline hulls gleaming like blades. The Council demanded my surrender and her abdication. They'll destroy you for protecting me, I said as we watched the armada form above the clouds. She smiled faintly. Let them try. What are you planning? Her gaze turned fierce. If they want the bridge between our kinds, they'll have it on my terms. Before I could argue, she took my hand. Energy flared between us, searing but not painful. The mark on my chest glowed, merging with the light in her veins. Suddenly, the world dissolved. We were standing in a vast expanse of white, no sky, no ground, only the hum of existence. It wasn't a place, it was consciousness itself. "This is the veil," she said, her voice echoing from everywhere and nowhere. The bridge between human and Valen thought. It was sealed long ago because it consumed those who entered unprepared. "And we're opening it again?" She looked at me with quiet certainty. "Only together can we control it." Outside, the Valen Armada opened fire, beams of pure energy tearing through the palace walls. But their light passed through us harmlessly. Within the veil, Elira reached toward me. "Do you trust me?" "With my life." Then she pressed her palm to my heart, and I to hers. The veil responded. A surge of energy swept outward, a symphony of minds intertwining. For a heartbeat, every human and Valen in orbit felt it. Empathy, shared memory, understanding. The warships halted mid-fire. Commanders dropped their weapons. Soldiers wept. The veil, once sealed by fear, now opened through love. Part 5. After the silence. When the light faded, we found ourselves back in the ruins of the palace. Smoke rose from the shattered towers, but the guns were silent. Across the horizon, ships were retreating, not in defeat, but in awe. Elira knelt beside me, exhaustion etching her features. The glow beneath her skin had dimmed. "It worked," I whispered. She smiled faintly. "For now. The veil is fragile. It needs harmony to survive. Promise me you'll protect it." "We'll protect it," I said firmly. She shook her head, eyes soft. "My time is ending, Reese. The bond consumed much of my essence. But you carry both worlds now. You can rebuild what we destroyed." "No," I said, voice breaking. "You can't leave me again." She touched my cheek, fingers trembling. "I'll never leave. You're my echo, remember?" Her light flickered, and then she dissolved into pure radiance, merging with the scar on my chest, her final gift, her essence becoming part of me once more. Part 6. The Return to Earth. Weeks later, I returned to Earth. The stars felt different, alive, humming softly in the back of my mind. The Federation hailed me as a hero, the man who ended the Valen War. But I knew better. At night, I could still feel her, not in body, but in thought. When I closed my eyes, her voice whispered through the veil, "The stars remember." I rebuilt the peace treaty myself, this time not through politics, but through shared consciousness. Humans and Valens began exchanging memories, art, language, no longer divided by fear, but united by empathy. And every time I saw that faint glow beneath my scar, I remembered the moment she touched it, the spark that began everything. Epilogue: The Queen's Promise. Years later, as I stood on the balcony of the Terran embassy on Valen Prime, a child approached, a little girl with violet eyes and golden hair. She looked up at me and smiled. "My mother said you'd watch over me," she said. "She said when the stars sing, that's you remembering her." I knelt down, unable to speak. The girl reached out and touched my scar, the same way her mother had. The mark flared with light. And for just a heartbeat, I heard Elira's voice again, soft, warm, infinite. "I told you I'd find you when the stars were right." And as the sky above Valen filled with shimmering auroras, I smiled through the tears. Because somehow, impossibly, she had kept her promise.